seamless summer, since that is just a continuation of the National School Lunch, School Breakfast program, when we roll out the school year 21, believe it or not, can you believe we're in fiscal year 21 starting? We normally roll that out July 1. We're going to roll that out early June. We're hoping June 1 is what we're shooting for, so that you can apply for SSO for July and August. So that's why you are not seeing that at this point. And you can't apply for July and August. Just keep that in mind. You will be able to operate it, but it is, you just have to wait a couple more weeks and we'll have that out. We will put a red banner in cars. We will send out an alert in cars and any other way we possibly can to let you know that the FY21 NSLP application is open, which will allow you to do your school lunch, school breakfast application renewal, as well as SSO if that's what you choose to do for the rest of the summer. Some of you, quite a few of you are staying on SSO, which is great. Let's see. There's the next slide. The waiver expirations. The meal pattern flexibility waiver did get extended to May 31st. And then the other waivers, all other waivers at this point are set to expire on June 30th. We have no clue at this point if they'll be extended. We are being asked lots of questions about the waivers. So I know that just leads us to believe that they're being discussed, be it at our regional office or at the national level. So just so you know, and as soon as we hear anything about any extensions to any of the waivers, we'll put a red banner, we'll get it out to you in any and all possible way right now. I will be asking for an extension to our state waiver, which was the one that allowed for the 50% free and reduced by site eligibility. I was informed by USDA that I cannot ask for that until the first part of June, but I will be asking for an extension to that one. The rest are determined at the national level. They will determine my state one as well, but I have to request that. So those are that's as far as the waiver goes. We are there with expirations that you see on the screen. Was there another slide, Dana? There it is. Cooking for Kids. This went out in cars earlier this week, I believe. And these are some webinars that our Cooking for Kids contract that we have with OSU will be having this summer. And all the information's on there. It's also in cars. We planning for next school year. Well, we all want to know what next school year is going to look like, I assure you. Not only in child nutrition, but I know a lot of superintendents are having, I've been on a lot of calls, they're having to have a plan A, B, C, D, heck, maybe even through Z at this point, for what options they have. You know, you're going to have a normal school calendar. Then you need to have a distance learning plan, and you need to have a plan to maybe bring them. Some schools are going to bring certain kids in on certain days, and others are going to distance learn a couple days while the others go to school. It's just hard to say right now. But to answer some of these questions or to address some of these issues on this slide, will children be served in the classroom? That's a very good possibility. We are also working with our Cooking for Kids contract, and they are coming up with ideas on that, brainstorming on that for us. They will be doing a webinar. Not yet, they're just in the planning stages, but stay tuned for that. There is that possibility that the superintendents may not want the kids congregating in the cafeteria. They may be eating in their room, we don't know. That did come up on a call yesterday, but it is an option. Would look similar to like breakfast in the classroom. We don't know if all the students will be in the building at the same time. I think different districts will be doing different things too. Certainly if we have a resurgence of this virus. Stuffing in your kitchen, I can't answer that, but you'll have to do what you need to do at your district to be able to keep your staff the way it needs to be for what you guys are going to end up doing. So I know sometimes this doesn't happen, but I truly hope that you're being involved in child nutrition as far as the planning of what's going on for next fall. There are a lot of questions still, even on the calls that I'm on with superintendents. How will your menus be affected? Well, again, that's going to go back to what ends up happening in the district. You know, if you have to do lunch in the classroom, and breakfast in the classroom, that may cut down on your choices. That's I mean, that's a good possibility. Food cost and inventory, that's another. I don't have a lot of answers, obviously, because there's so many unknowns at this point, and that's I think that's the most scary part of it all. There's just too many unknowns at this point. Commodities that are already ordered. I didn't think we need to reach out to Gina and maybe have a conversation with her too, and we haven't done that. She is on a call, our USDA call with us, but it hasn't come up. So there's a lot of unknowns, and that's why we're going to go ahead and have this call on an every other week basis, so that as we hear more and of changes that might be coming, we can keep you even more up to date from week to week, or at least every other week. You
might want to address the at-risk that we did find out.
Yeah, we found out, several of you were asking about the at-risk program. You do at-risk, and up until just late last week or first part of this week, I can't remember, USDA finally did give us guidance on that, and you can continue your at-risk meal after school's closed until June 30th. So if you're doing summer feeding or you're doing SSO and you're approved for at-risk, which is typically where you would serve your supper and or a snack after school, you can do like breakfast and lunch through summer feeding and SSO, or SSO, whichever you're doing, and you could still, if you choose to, do a supper and or a snack as well, just so you know. Yes. You will need to contact us. I was just reminded that in the child care application and claim side, no school is approved for June, because typically in a normal year, again, whatever that is, you can't claim June and July. You could claim part of May and part of August. So if you choose to continue on at risk that you're already approved for, you need to contact us so that we can open your June claim. Yes, and we will put the CACFP website in the chat so that you can email that, and we can get that done for you.
Okay, there's a question about we can't do breakfast and lunch with summer food service program and a snack and supper with SSO at the same time.
No, you're either going to be on summer feeding or seamless summer for the summer to serve breakfast and lunch. You can't do both of those programs. If you're approved for CACFP, which stands for Child and Adult Care Food Program, at risk, you can do a supper and a snack under that program. But summer feeding and SSO can't go at the same time. It's either one or the other. And it is after the deadline to apply for summer feeding, but you can continue on seamless summer. And that is, the at-risk is for schools that are already approved for at-risk, also known as the third meal sometimes.
If we serve snacks in the regular school year, does that mean we qualify to continue to serve snacks?
Not under SSO, no, because SSO you can only do 2 meal combinations, breakfast and lunch, breakfast and snack, lunch and snack. You cannot do under SSO or SFSP, you can't do a combination of lunch and supper. So many rules. It's 2 meals on summer feeding and 2 meals on SSO. And again, you've got to do one, or you can do one or the other. Okay, we've added the chat, or in the chat, we've added the CACFP email. Sorry about that. Anyone, have I missed any questions?
I haven't seen any more.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Was there another slide after this, Dana?
No,
okay. USDA has not come out with any new waivers. They have not come out with any new memos. So we don't have any waiver or memo updates at this point. So Maria, no, Maria, you can continue your at-risk until June 30th. That's okay, no problem. I have a question about SSO claims. In March and April SSO claims, I'm not showing a status and my claim subtotal is 0.
Because all of that they're referring to only deals with an SLP claim.
Okay, that's because your claim summary in CARS only shows national school lunch and school breakfast. You physically have to select SSO and go into that. If you saved it and certified it, that's all you have to do for SSO. No, Shelley, I'm sorry, there is no SSO claim summary report on CARS at this point. Of course, that's something that, as much as we've had to use SSO this year for this, we were making some tweaks to the system for that. Typically, SSO is not a program that's done in the summer. We typically have less than 50 schools that participate in SSO. And if they do, it's only for like a 2-week period. It's not normally something that schools do. It's just because of what we're going through right now. If our SSO numbers decrease during June and the waivers have expired, are we allowed to discontinue SSO before June 30th? Yes, you can stop SSO meals once your distance learning ends if you choose to do so. We are encouraging, if there's still a need in your community to feed students, that you at least maybe leave one site open for that. But we also understand that possibly that won't happen. But we are encouraging, if there's a need in the community, to maybe downsize the number you are doing and still meet the need for your community.
I don't know if they can hear me or not yet, but the next question, will they be able to tally or go back to free, reduced, and full paid? Like, well, when school goes back into session, you will go back to normal counting and claiming unless we have some type of unanticipated school closure. Yes,
when school starts back in August, let's say, I don't know if you could hear Dana. She still might be having microphone issues. We're not sure. Once school starts back in August, let's say, you will go back to your traditional national school lunch, school breakfast program and claim under that as free, reduced, and paid. If we have to start out the year with distance learning, that will be a whole, we'll have to just see. I can't answer that right now because ultimately there would probably have to be waivers put in place again, be it by me or us as the state. I'm not sure that there will be nationwide waivers. We just don't know. Again, lots of unknown, unfortunately. We're dealing with right now just getting through the summer, and USDA is starting to plan ahead, which is good. We've told them that we need some answers for, the next, further than just a month down the road. We need answers for 2 and 3 months down the road. So hopefully, let's see.
Yeah, someone had a question.
I'm a clerk manager when we go back to school. Oh, that was the question I just answered. Okay.
Have we applied for any other waivers for the drive-through waiver after June 30th?
No, we're waiting to see what USDA does. We can, as a state, if the nationwide waivers expire, we could ask for state waivers on all that. And you can pretty much be sure that I'll do that. That's right now, but we're waiting to see if we hear any more about these being extended past the June 30th. I for sure will be asking for a extension to the 50% site eligibility waiver. And that wasn't a nationwide waiver. Again, that was one as a state that we submitted and were approved for. So that one will be. We are working on how we're going to handle ABVM training this summer. We will be doing it differently. We will be doing it virtually. We will not be doing it in person. So stay tuned for information. We will be getting information out on that very soon. Hey, Jennifer, need to go back to at-risk program again. If district was previously approved for CACFP at-risk supper, can they continue that until June 30th? As you mentioned, if they have moved to SFSP, no, you are correct. If any school that has transitioned to SFSP and they were approved for at-risk, they can continue that supper and snack meal if they would like to until June 30th.
Will there be an announcement when they expire?
That, we asked USDA that on Tuesday's call. We have a 2-day-a-week call with them, and they couldn't really give us an answer. And we aren't the only state that's wondering that, so just FYI. We're hoping that, yes, we'll have a little bit of warning, but I don't know. I can't answer that. I wish I could.
Tell them we'll announce it as soon as we know.
And it will be announced as soon as we know, absolutely. And again, that's done at the DC level. That's not done at the local level, those nationwide waivers. And I mean, it's a possibility that some will be extended and some won't. It's a possibility they'll all be extended. There's a possibility none of them will. I need my magic 8 ball. And I don't think that would help me much at this point, but okay. I hope we're still, any questions, feel free to send them in.
That's a good question, Krista. Now,
Oh, I didn't get it. Has USDA said anything about relief for school funding? No. That's asked every call that is asked by 1 or 2 different states. And as of right now, there's no additional funding for anything. Could it be coming down the road? Possibly. They just don't have an answer for that.
and then we had a question, when school starts in August, can we use an SLP and or SSO for students who are not in the building? So in other words, if half the kids are in school and half the kids are learning virtual.
That's going to have to come from DC, if that's allowable or not.
It's gonna come back in a waiver. We'll have to continue the non-congregate fee waiver.
Nancy, they are, oh, sorry, getting feedback. They are very aware of losses going on in child nutrition nationwide. It's not just here. All of our 7 states in our region, and then also we're hearing about it from other states in other regions. Dana, what did you just say? It needs to be repeated. I can't even remember because I was reading while you were talking.
Tell them I was fumbling with the speakers here. We think we figured out why I can't talk, because we plugged this in. But
Okay.
if I unplug it, you can't talk.
Oh, it had something to do with her mic not working. We think we figured that out. So I think that's what Dana was saying. Are your counts staying steady for meals that you're serving? I have a question for you guys. Or are they dropping? Nancy's dropping. Okay.
Dropping. Drop.
Oh, going up. Stephanie, is that Piedmont? So starting to drop off. Oh, although.
Some are still up, some are dropping. Well, they're coming too
Wow, they're coming fast and furious.
Okay.
So we've got probably a fair mix of both.
Yep, I see steady, staying constant, same about the same. Just drop. Because I was wondering how after parents went back to work.
Yeah. Depends on weather. I'm sure it does depend on weather. Every time there's a storm, I just hope it's nothing bad. Like, we don't need a tornado in the middle of all this. My husband's like, I'm like, we don't need a tornado. Nobody needs a tornado in their town right now. Dropping in Sand Springs. Dropped a little last week. Well, steady. So it's a pretty good combination of both, it looks like to me. Hey, Nikki. Dropping, so maybe dropping a little bit.
Like some of our bigger schools are dropping.
So Texoma stopped delivering. Okay, that's good to know. But pickup is still available. That's great. Ponca's down 25%. Oh, Lisa, you're dropping. You had some pretty good April numbers, Lisa. I noticed the other day when I pulled some claim information.
How many districts are running bus routes for meals?
Any idea, Cassie? We could get you a number. We just don't have it in front of us. There are still buses running. For sure. Piedmont's running 9 routes. So those of you that are staying steady and obviously there's a need in your community, and that's what the intent of the program is, for sure, is to cover that need. Wow, 300 stops. Nice, Maria. Good, Lisa, I'm glad that'll help.
I just tell them apologize for having to contact them so many times for different information.
Wow. Yeah, Dana just brought up a good point. I think last week we were contacting you all quite a bit for some additional information. USDA issued these nationwide waivers, which is great. They've helped you all, and that's the intent of them. What you don't realize we have to do on our back end for reporting purposes, and they tell us one way that it has to be done in the waiver, which you all could see that there's 2 bullet points for every nationwide waiver that we're supposed to report back on. But come to find out, there was a memo issued for our federal reporting numbers, and we did we just did them, we did our March reports and submitted them the very end of March, first part of April. And 2 weeks later, roughly, they came back and said, okay, all those March reports, we need all this additional documentation reported. And so we had gotten some of it, but because they didn't tell us when it was sent out or before our March federal reports were issued, we did not know that we needed all this additional information. So we're kind of guessing at the information that we will have to report back to USDA for these memos. And when you don't report back to them for the memos, the problem ends up being or for the waivers, I'm sorry, if you don't report back to them within the year time frame for waivers, and another chance comes for waivers, we would get denied as a state because we didn't report properly. So we're just trying to stay ahead of it, but sometimes we don't know exactly what information to stay ahead with. So it wasn't just trying to irritate you all or create more work on your end. It's because what we have to do on the back end to keep all these waivers and to be able to be eligible for them if it ever happens again and we need them. Just FYI on that. So just know it wasn't just to irritate by any means. At some point since this started and still continuing, 226 districts were delivering in some way, shape, or form. And keep in mind, there's 541 districts in the state. Districts, not sites. So just, well, we thank you too for all your hard work. We know you guys are working just as hard on your end.
When school starts back in the fall, we heard there will not be a self-serve bars.
We have not heard that. That has not been a topic. Could that be something you're hearing maybe from the health department? I don't know. That might be a possibility. But we don't know of that here. And no, I don't know about offer versus serve. Offer versus serve is only required in the high school level. It is not required in grades lower than high school, just as an FYI.
Or at breakfast at all.
Or at breakfast at all, that's right. Only lunch.
And yes, would you remind everyone SNA has been postponed until June of 2021 and ANC canceled?
Yes. SNA of Oklahoma has been moved 1 year out, so it'll be next June. Same place, same theme. And then National SNA in Nashville this year was canceled, and that is in July.
Turn that off. We probably could have.
CEP, you need to, if you are considering starting CEP or reestablishing a base year, or you were in a grace year last year, CEP, you need to pull the waive and any direct cert documentation from the waive or homeless migrant runaway, Head Start, foster, tribal. That can be pulled anytime between April 1st and June 30th. Whenever you decide to pull it, make sure you print an enrollment form for the exact same time frame. And the other thing is, you have to tell this office or your area consultant that you want to elect CEP by August 31st. I hope that answers that question. If not, let me know. I did miss it. Thanks, Becky. What is the largest district delivering by bus route? Oh, gosh. I'm not sure about that. I think Tulsa's delivering some bus routes, but I don't know.
What's the largest district delivering by bus routes? No, that was the stops.
Atoka has a lot of stops, but that's 9. So there's a lot of route. Tulsa's running some, but not district-wide. Yes, they aren't. That is correct. They are not running district-wide.
That's about 14 bus routes, so that's. I mentioned to Shelley that just to start small and work their way up if they still can't hear me. So.
No. I've had a few texts wanting to remind them about consultants not doing reviews.
Just so you all know, we as a state didn't get a waiver to not do reviews. We have gotten a waiver that allows us to do desk reviews and to do some distance observation of meals. And so just know that that is a possibility, that your consultant may come out and watch from a distance. We're not policing. We're just doing what we have to do regulatory wise for SSO reviews. Any school that had a child nutrition review this school year 1920, and is doing SSO or did SSO, we're required to review. It's regulatory. That was not waived. So a lot of our regulatory paperwork and review and monitoring was not waived. So they may be reaching out to you and asking to come pick up copies of records, or if you're able to email them, scan them and email them, they will be asking for that. If you had a school review that was started and then this happened, they have to finish it. If you were scheduled for a school review and they didn't start it, meaning they didn't come on site and actually start the review, that review will be moved to next year, next school year. I told him I was asking for it. The 50% waiver, I will ask for an extension to that state waiver, but if it is denied, any sites that do not meet the 50% free and reduced eligibility by site will have to stop serving.
And that is SSO and SSO.
That is summer feeding and seamless summer. But again, I am going to ask for an extension to that, but it could be denied. So just keeping that in mind. I know I've said that I would ask for an extension multiple times, but if I am denied that extension, those sites would have to stop serving on June 30th.
And you might remind them in the SFSP application, it asks who's serving on Memorial Day and July 4th. Seamless Summer does not ask that question. But they can serve on Seamless Summer.
Okay.
Their site's open.
In the summer feeding application, it asks for holidays that you're serving, which would be Memorial Day and July 4th. So you have to, if you are serving those 2 days, you need to make sure that's in your summer feeding if you're doing summer feeding. On SSO, those questions aren't in there. If you're closed, you obviously won't claim meals that day. If you're open, that's fine. You may serve meals on those days.
And if whoever has a feeder school of low income higher than the 50%, yes, they can continue, they can show us their feeder school.
Yeah, was that a question in here?
Well, I don't, it says privately, so tell Krista to quit typing me privately.
Oh, she may not know she's doing it.
We have a middle school that is a feeder school for all low income elementary schools, but it is not 50%.
Christian's like, it's not me.
Nancy, in summer feeding, if we said we were not serving on Memorial Day, but could we send home meals on the Friday before for Monday? Yes, you may do that. If we are scheduled to be reviewed next school year, no, you will not be reviewed on SSO then,
Unless you do SSO next year.
unless you do SSO next year, which the new normal, maybe. That's a possibility for everyone. The extension is good through June, correct, if not all sites meet the 50% free and reduced. Currently, the waiver, the state waiver we were granted is good through June 30th or sooner if the pandemic is declared over per Washington, D.C. So if they say it's over on June 15th, then it has to end on June 15th. Unless I get an extension, which again, they will not allow me to apply for an extension until the first part of June.
That doesn't apply to schools that qualify because they had a feeder school that qualified.
He says all sites.
Also remind them if they ever change how they're serving days of the week, things like that, we need to constantly, or if their ending date, they decide to end early, we need to update their SFO application.
If you change how you originally applied and what you were doing on the days, serving days of week or times and such in SSO, and you're staying on SSO and that's been changed for whatever reason, maybe you've downsized or shortened your time frame for serving, that does need to be reflected in the SSO application for that month. So please keep that in mind. Let's see. Barry, I don't know if I answered your question exactly. I was trying to there. Let me know if we didn't. I'm not sure if it was a struggle for anyone else with the subgroups. There are no subgroups for, the Netherlands are calling me. There are no subgroups for summer feeding. That's only for SSO because SSO is a continuation of the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program. Yes, Tammy, I would go ahead and apply for July and August just in case. Maria, we're considering reducing from 16 routes to 7 so that we can use 7 buses with AC. That's okay. That would just need to be updated in the SSO application, please. In July and August, as a reminder that one of the slides in the PowerPoint in the beginning will not be available until we roll out the FY21 application for NSLP, which will hopefully be in just a few weeks.
There. Put the slide back up.
Oh, we can get those put on cars right now, the free and reduced packets.
Have you thought about them?
We honestly, it hadn't even crossed our mind. So
Thank you,
they're
Pam.
ready. Thank you. The income scale's out and the application is available. We will get that put on cars. No problem. Sorry about that.
That's a good question, Kristen.
Yes. The entire CARS application has to be completed in order for SSO for July and August, yes. So we will come up with a way to make sure that's done in here so that any doing SSO in July and August are looked at early on. We will come up with something.
PLE approvals, we're waiting. Haven't looked at them yet.
The PLEs are being looked at.
Because they can even input their application now.
Okay. Will, they are being looked at. Will we have to wait for it to be approved before you do your 21 app? Yes, but they are being looked at. Yes, Tammy, we will put the FY21 free and reduced application and income scale on CARS. It may, we will get that up. We can get you Debbie, we can get you the free and reduced application and the income scale. Remember, you have to wait till July 1 to do the free and reduced applications. The actual renewal application will be available in a couple weeks. And in the FY21 renewal, the SSO months, you will just check we've changed it. This year, when you started the SSO, it was by every 2 months. So you had March and April, May and June, etc. Next year, you would check the months you're going to operate. It wouldn't be a separate application for a 2-month period. We have fixed that. I don't know how long ago and why it was decided upon to do it the way it was set up. But like I say, sometimes we inherited it that way. That's kind of a joke in here in the office. So it's funny to some of us. It might not be funny to you guys, sorry. Do we know anything about ABVM and cafeteria managers? They will not be done in person. They will be done virtually. And we are working out the details right now of how we will handle that. So stay tuned for information on that as well.
Maybe by the next call.
Yeah. We should have information on that by the next call. We should have everything firmed up. We're having to just figure out logistics, obviously, for virtual. And that's new for all of us. Economically disadvantaged forms for 21. That, I'm going to pass the buck on that because child nutrition has nothing to do with economically disadvantaged. That will come from your RAO, Regional Accreditation Officer. They have been given the income scale by us, and that's all we do. What?
OCAS coding.
Oh, if you're still having OCAS coding questions for SSO, you use 763 and 764 because it's a continuation of the National School Lunch, School Breakfast Program. Should you apply for SSO next summer even though we may not participate? You can. If you want to, that's fine. Again, the next summer, it wouldn't be until the FY21 application rolls up, NSLP application rolls out. Stephanie, with widespread unemployment, our district's free and reduced percentage could change drastically. How would we ask for SSO application for next year, not knowing this as of today? And you might not. You really won't know right now. And yes, a lot of free and reduced would drastically go up.
Are you asking about the CDP numbers?
No. So
The free and reduced for SSO are based on October of the prior year.
Edgar typed in the chat, contact state aid for questions regarding economically disadvantaged, and there it is.
Thank you, Edgar.
As far, Stephanie, back to yours, it's based on the prior year's October 1 numbers. So right now, yours would have to drastically change in Piedmont. I do know that. And they may. I mean, it's scary out there right now with unemployment and all that, so it's possible. But you could just wait and even apply. You don't have to apply necessarily right now or right in June when the application goes out. You could wait and see what your free and reduced ends up being and then apply potentially.
Is she asking because of the 50% waiver maybe not being extended, and if she has enough free and reduced to go ahead and get on the program?
Yes, Renetta, we know. Edgar's wonderful. We've said that for a long time. We agree with you completely. CEP question, Maria, oh, that's just to me. June 30th, Maria. Your tribe question about CEP. You have to pull CEP information between April 1 and June 30th per the nationwide memo number 6. Are the interactive forms something we can post on a website for parents to do online enrollment this year? Do you mean the interactive free and reduced applications? If so, yes, you can. No worries, Maria. We're good. Anybody else?
They don't process applications till after July 1. Can they distribute them now?
Not really. Dana brought up a good point. Keep in mind, the free and reduced applications cannot be collected until July 1. If you do them right now, they aren't valid for next school year because you're collecting them in school year 1920 when you need to collect them for school year 2021. Carry over and how to get it down. Since we're expecting to lose revenue and paying 1.5 times labor, we expect to lose money. Can this carryover fund be used that way? Oh, she sent that to me privately. Lisa, we'll discuss that in here and get back with you about that. Would they be able to sign those forms online and send them to us online?
Not our interactive forms.
Our interactive form doesn't have it doesn't have an electronic signature line.
They're not here.
So we don't, we use USDA's prototype form, and we didn't do an electronic signature on it. And a lot of those, and it could be also parents won't have a way to do the electronic signature. You might talk with your IT people at your school to maybe work out logistics for that. Keitha? Yes, you are correct. As of right now, that is the case.
Certificates I did not send out for the last Zoom meeting. If they want them, they need to contact me. I don't want to say that. I'll just.
Well, you're
Not really.
if you are currently on at risk, can you continue to, oh, that's you saying you can. Okay. Nope, that's okay. Any other questions?
Just hit the certificates that I'll get one.
Dana says she'll deal with certificates here before too much longer. She's laughing, but she will. Anybody else? Were you serious, Nancy? Or you're just fed up? Or a little bit of both? Nope,
Yep.
You are, December 31st. I think this will drive several people to that. I believe we have at least one field staff retiring this year too. No names will be mentioned because I don't have the official notice. It's not me. Not to say I haven't figured out how many more years I have to go.
Or she hasn't told her ladies, so now they know.
If they're on this call, they know now, Nancy. It has been a tough year. You guys are doing great, though. Thank you for all your hard
Is
work.
everyone as tired as we are?
Yes, we're tired in here too. And we know you're doing even harder work out there. So I know you guys are tired. Yep, everybody's tired. I hear it on the calls. Your superintendents know you're tired too, ladies. And gentlemen, I know there's gentlemen on the call. I apologize. Yeah, Nancy, I second that mental exhaustion. That's where I am with it, mental exhaustion. Your superintendents know how hard you're working. I sit in on 2 calls with superintendents, with the state superintendent every week, and they talk about how tired you all are. They know you are. They talk about how much you're doing and how much they appreciate it. So if they aren't telling you that, they're saying it and you don't know it. So I'll tell you, they all know you're working hard. Oh, good. That's nice, Rebecca. I know lots of superintendents are helping. Yes, Nancy, we feel your pain. We feel your pain. Any more questions? Lynette, so, oh, good. Some of your admin's helping. That's nice to see. Good, Cindy. You guilted them into it. Good for you. Nice, Karen, very good. There are several superintendents that have done that. They really are. And yes, you are the silent superheroes. I agree. Nice. Couple teachers showed up. Very good.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Each lady got flowers and that is awesome. And that's fine. We know there's going to be lots of questions as they work out the distance learning or returning to school or whatever the case may be. There will be lots of questions.
And they might just remind their superintendents they need to be in on some of those meetings when they start talking about plans.
Yeah, that's a good point. Dana said if you can put a bug in the ear of anybody so that your superintendents know that you all should be involved in some of that planning of what next school year looks like, that would always be great. I may even mention that next week on a call to keep you guys in the loop. So it's just not, dropped on your feet and you got to figure it out.
Yay, Lisa.
Great, Lisa, that's awesome. Okay, I can do that, Maria. I know your superintendent's on all the calls I'm on. I got lots of experience in the kitchen aspect because of this. One in the office told superintendent I'm ready for a career change. All 3 sides participating. Nice. Tammy Bowman. Okay, I will do that. I know that, you're, not only are you all a superhero in the background, you guys are apparently miracle workers too, and just being able to read their mind and what they want. So I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, you find out the night before, yes. Or you might hear it on the news. One school district heard no more serving on the news, and then heard that, yeah, they're going to restart on the news. So yeah. Okay, I can do that. While planning, superintendents will think class rosters are the easiest way to count kids. Yep. Maybe they'll buy you guys iPads for each classroom to take a count. No, I don't know. Yes. Clean carpets if they did breakfast. Oh boy.
Oh, you didn't know the phase, right? Yes.
I'm sure that is. These are funny. Okay, I'll keep saying, yeah, I got what you meant, Nancy. Yes, they will. Yeah, yes, I know. They'll want to use your child nutrition funds. I get it. Most important thing is to keep feeding the children. Yeah, that's what it's all about. If there's a need and kids need food, we just ask that we encourage you to continue to think about that. Maybe not shutting down all sites, but keeping maybe at least one open if you can, in smaller towns, obviously. I know some of the larger little towns, I shouldn't have said that, but you guys are still gonna serve. So, but some of the smaller towns, if there's a need, you know, do what you can. We understand. Okay. Anybody else?
Almost an hour.
At least you got, maybe, hopefully you got to sit for 45 minutes to an hour for this call. Take a breath. Some of you might have dozed off. I don't know. If you did, that's okay. You might have needed it.
Not having enough gas money to do it for the children. Thank you for these calls. It's nice to know that we're all struggling together.
Yep. We have one of our calls every other week now was just a regional call with our states and no USDA. And I agree with you, Nancy. It's nice to know that they're having the same issues in other states as we're having here and getting answers and such. We call it a regional therapy session. Good. We're glad the calls are super helpful. We are going to continue them on an every other week basis. So we won't have one next week unless something very important was to come out. It would be the following week. So if we need to do one for, I don't know what it would be, but something could. I don't, there's nothing on the horizon that I'm aware of, but if we needed to have one sooner, we would. Okay, I think we thank you for everything. Thank you guys for all your hard work too. We know you're working hard. The next call, unless we had to do one sooner, would be May 28th. Some of you are, were asking, so. And it's gonna be a 2 o'clock call. I have a standing 1 o'clock call, so with my supervisor in federal program people, so. Okay, we are gonna sign off. You guys have a great weekend. And we will definitely be back on the 28th, if not before, if needed. So we are doing later in the afternoon because of meals. We figured that would be best. So thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.